Good evening. Welcome to day 14 of chapter 13 of the book The Untethered Soul, and it's called Far, Far Beyond. Far, Far Beyond, in case you're watching this for the first time, no, it's not a fairy tale. The Untethered Soul is a journey beyond yourself, and the author is Michael A. Singer. I have been doing this regularly every day, reading excerpts. Yesterday I couldn't go live, and obviously there's a reason for it. I'm going to be sharing that reason with you sometime during reading the book. So here goes. Today's chapter, or rather, let me say, the previous chapter was taking down the walls. He was talking about going beyond your mind, going beyond your, whatever limited confines you've put on yourself. These are the things I can do, these are the things I cannot do. It's breaking those walls down, or taking those down, was the previous chapter. Today's is going beyond that. And it's a very interesting chapter. Now, what's been happening with me, I've been saying this in practically every video, especially in the past few chapters, quite a few chapters. I'm literally I'm literally experiencing this book through the day. And I literally mean that. I'm experiencing it, whatever he's suggesting, or some exercises, or if he says that, be aware of this and things like that, I'm actually practicing that on a very minute level, on a daily. Right in the beginning, he talks about becoming aware of your thoughts and emotions. Okay, and he gave practices of how to do that and start being a witness to it. Now, imagine if you were walking around with magnified glasses, right? So everything would be so humongously large, magnified, basically. Hi, sorry, I think there was a bit of a pause. I seem to have faced some challenge with my Wi-Fi. It just went blank, so I've come on data. I hope the um, I hope the connectivity and the sound quality is clear enough. If Hi Ravi, hi Uzma. If any one of you give me a thumbs up that the voice quality and the video quality is clear enough, it would help. So to continue, what I was saying was that I've been practicing this on a daily basis, and imagine, wearing something like magnifying glasses and keeping highly sensitive headphones on, that every sound is audible around you, like, it's so clearly and so instantly. That's how I have been practicing this to that depth. And when I do something with that much of commitment, then what happens is you end up also facing the challenges that the book talks about every step. So here the challenges that I'm referring to are where all my mind has been blocking my growth, spiritual growth. Okay, and from that point, today's chapter 13, which talks far, far beyond, it's going beyond your created mind's created construct. Yesterday afternoon, and he talks about here, of how you don't want to come out of that construct because comfort zone. Okay, so I'm sharing this because I would like to really point out to you the reason why I couldn't do the video yesterday. And like I said, while I'm reading it through the chapters excerpts that I'll be reading, I will share with you at that point what happened and why I couldn't do the live yesterday. Okay, so here let's begin this. In its most basic sense, going beyond means going past where you are. It means not staying in your current state. When you constantly go beyond yourself, there are no limitations and no more boundaries. Limitations and boundaries only exist at the places where you stop going beyond. If you never stop, then you go beyond boundaries, beyond limitations, beyond the sense of a restricted self. I was thinking about this earlier also, what kind of an example I'm going to give. And it's not like everything that the mind says is is a limitation or a restriction. Okay, for example, I thought about myself. Let's say in the body state that I am, my physical body, the muscle power and whatever it is. If I set a goal for myself that from today, 6 months from now, I will run a marathon, let's say 5 kilometers marathon, okay? That is still achievable for me. My mind will say that, and more than that, my mind is aware of my body's condition as of now. And with practice, if I start now, what kind of practice, what kind of regime I need to have, I would be able to, let's say, do the 5 kilometer marathon, right? But if I put the way I am, if I put a goal, I will come first in the race. Now that again, my mind, if it says no, it's not going to be possible, it's probably not a limitation. Okay, it is being more practical. Okay, but if my mind is going to continuously tell me no, it's just not going to be possible even for running a marathon. Okay, no, you can't do it, it's not going to happen, don't take the, don't be stupid, stuff like that, those kind of voices versus my willpower to at least make the effort and go ahead and do it. That's the difference. So witnessing that, watching that, experiencing that, and learning where is it being practical and where my mind is operating out of fear, and where is my heart getting blocked, and what kind of emotions are getting blocked, and where I'm tightening my heart chakra or closing it, and what's happening to me when I'm keeping it open. These are the things experiencing through the past couple of weeks, right? So that's what I'm talking about. And that's what he's talking about, that going beyond these things. Beyond is infinite in all directions. Okay? Boundaries create the appearance of finiteness in infinite space. Things seem finite because your perception hits mental boundaries. Another very simple example that I would like to give over here is, the one, like he says, things seem finite because your perception hits mental boundaries. Let's say even the walls of our house, okay? It seems finite. That this is it's like 1500 square feet area, right? Yes, it is a physical boundary, agreed. But if we break it down to molecular structure, then it's just space and molecules everywhere. Then, it's like, that's the example of having a mental and within the house also, then it will be like my room, so and so's room, dining room, living room, and so on and so forth. We've created these further boundaries and limitations and things like that, categories, or stuff like that. So that's what our mental construct is also doing. And within that, then there's certain things that we do or we don't do. Certain things that we do, we've created them, and that becomes our comfort zone. And then to go beyond, you must keep going past the limits that you put on things. Now, I kept wondering why he's talking about going beyond, right? And then what, I, before even reading the book, reading this chapter, I kept asking the question to myself that why would I want to go beyond? If I'm comfortable in a place, why would I want to go beyond, right? And every time I asked myself that question, I realized that the mind is not saying anything. And for me at that point, it was a very interesting observation, okay? That the mind is not giving an answer of why do I want to go beyond, because it's just comfortable being where it is. So I'm like, okay, that was a sign for me. I took that as a sign that this is not one of those, I'm very peaceful state, so the mind is quiet. The mind is not wanting to become uncomfortable, and that's where everything fell into place. That the moment there is discomfort, that means it's like a block. Now that's how I look at it personally. Discomfort coming up, then that means there's a block, and if there's a block, then my energies are not flowing properly and I'm not going to be able to grow as a person. So that's the kind of how do I say, signals I have kept for myself. So to go beyond, you must keep going past the limits that you put on things. This requires changes at the core of your being. Right now you're using your analytical mind. You do this in an attempt to feel a semblance of control. This is seen most clearly in your constant attempt to make the unknown known. Right? You have it all figured out. Your views, your opinions, your preferences, your concepts are all ways of bringing the infinite universe down to the finite. Okay? The analytic cannot handle the infinite. Your choice is to either resist reality or go beyond the limits of your model. Now, this particular line, your choice is to either resist reality or go beyond the limits of your model. Or, the model here, he talks about the mental construct. This is what was happening to me yesterday. Something happened. I just was not able to accept what had happened. I was just not able to accept. And it was so devastating for me to experience that to go beyond it, accepting what has happened, was so painful for me, because there were so many emotions that were coming up. There's so much of ranting that was going on in my mind. How could it happen? How could it happen? Why did it happen? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? I could have this, that, and there was immense grief that I was experiencing yesterday. Okay, so that happened in the afternoon. It was very interesting. So I stayed with that. I was watching and experiencing. This went on, and there was this struggle inside me going on. Do I just watch it? Do I experience it? And that is what I was watching, experiencing the grief, the conflict in my head, the pain in my heart center, trying to open it. It's not happening. All of that was going on. And by evening, I began to read this book, this chapter, because it was time for me to prepare to do the live at 9, and I like to give myself a couple of hours to read the chapter, aram se read the whole thing, and then do the marking. Now, as I kept reading the chapter, I started realizing that this is what he's talking about. I am not willing to accept what has happened on this day and go beyond it, go past it. I'm just not able to. And because I was not able to, for whatever reason, it's not like, I just decide and it happens. Sometimes some things have happened. I've experienced them and I've shared with them in my previous videos. This one was a pretty, it was a pretty shattering experience for me, if at all I were to say that. And it was not easy for me to accept what had happened. So I just could not bring myself to read a chapter and share with you that do this and do that beyond your limitations, when I could not do that myself, because I knew I would break down. I knew. It's not like I'm ashamed to break down in front of all of you. It's not that. But it's like I'm not being authentic. I wouldn't have been authentic if I hadn't done it myself, and I would have to talk about it. Then it would just be literally reading a book. And that's not what I'm doing here every day. I'm reading excerpts and I'm sharing what is happening. So because I could not be authentic to the topic that is here in this chapter, the last moment I just put out a post apologizing to everybody that today's reason why I could not do yesterday's live, because this one sentence, your choice is to either resist reality or go beyond the limits of your mental model. And yesterday what happened? I was resisting it, and that's why I didn't do it. In order to truly go beyond your model, you must first understand why you built it, right? And I began to understand then today, not yesterday. Yesterday was not a very nice night for me. So, I watched myself today. I introspected a lot. Why I behaved that way, or reacted that way. What happened to me inside? What was it that was so unacceptable to me? That's what he says. First, understand why you created that comfort zone, or why you created that model. The easiest way to understand this is to study what happens when the model doesn't work, which is what happened. Another, common example a lot of us may have experienced is, you're working for a company, you're absolutely happy over there. It's not like, you're unhappy, you're happy, your colleagues are fantastic, you're performing well. And then one day suddenly something happens and the company announces X number and so many number of employees, because there is a takeover or whatever, we are letting go of so many employees, and your name happens to be one of them. Your entire construct of stability that you had created based on this organization, based on regular income coming in, based on the colleagues, the comfort, your skills that you were doing, your productivity was going well, you were growing over there, you had perceived yourself being there for so many more years, based on the revenue that was the income that was coming in, you had planned so many things, you have installment, all of that just suddenly shakes you up because the company decides to let you go. Where all do these things happen? They can happen in relationships, any kind of relationship, right? I mean, you feel that you can completely depend on this person, and then something just happens and poof, that person is gone. Parents, siblings, friends, spouses, partners, pets, right? So that's what happens? Something shakes your model to the core, and everything around you begins to fall apart. You do everything you can to hold it together. Once you've had an experience like that, and most people have, you realize that the model you built is pretty weak. The entire thing can fall apart. What you experience when this happens is one of the most important learning experiences of your life. You come face to face with what made you build the model. The level of discomfort and disorientation you experience is frightening. You struggle just to get back some semblance. What you are really doing is trying to pull the mental model back. You are constantly trying to stay within your comfort zone. The moment somebody starts behaving in a way that is outside your expectations, your mind starts talking. Your mind is telling you to fix it. It's all about getting back within your comfort zone. This zone is finite. Going beyond always means letting go to keep things within your comfort zone. So there are two ways you can live. You can devote your life to staying in your comfort zone, or you can work on going beyond. Okay? So again, what I'm trying to say here is that there's nothing wrong in being in your comfort zone. If it's absolutely fine and comfortable, brilliant, enjoy that and stay with that. But the moment you start feeling uncomfortable where you are, okay, be aware whether you are doing things outside or around you or even inside your thought process to avoid feeling that discomfort, or are you doing something to find out what that discomfort is, which will require you to then really come face to face with breaking down those walls of the comfort zone. That's what it is. And once you do that, if you realize that the discomfort is now being within your comfort zone, then that's a huge sign for you to start bringing the walls down. That's what we're talking about here, right? When you truly awake, you realize you are caged. You're constantly hitting the limits of your comfort zone. If you approach your limits, you begin to feel uncomfortable and insecure. As long as you stay inside of it, you cannot know what is on the other side. Going beyond means going beyond these borders. The soul is infinite. It wants to experience all of life. If you have barriers and you know what they are because you hit them every day, you must be first willing to go beyond them. Through each day, you frequently hit the edges of your cage. When you hit these edges, you either pull back or try to force things to change so that you can remain comfortable. You actually use the brilliance of your mind to stay inside. I've talked about all of this earlier, that's why I'm just reading these pointers. When you approach the edges, you feel insecure. You pull back. This is what I was doing yesterday, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Spirituality begins when you decide that you won't stop trying. It's a journey based upon going beyond yourself. Eventually, you will realize that it cannot actually hurt you to go beyond your psychological limits. Going beyond where you were a minute ago by handling rather than waiting till the discomfort piles up and becomes so huge and such a big fortress. The moment you feel it's like just a small block, look at it and go beyond, look at it and go beyond, look at it and go beyond, right? If it's a block, don't wait till it becomes a mental fortress. You end up loving your edges because they point your way to go ahead. All you do is lean into them, right? Just very slowly look at them. One day, when you least expect it, you fall through into the infinite. That is what it means to go beyond. So that's what today's chapter is about, far, far beyond. If you're watching this later as a recording, please leave your comments. I would like to know what you thought about today's chapter. We're going, like I keep saying, every day, every chapter, we're going deeper and deeper and deeper in this journey beyond ourselves. Tomorrow, chapter 14, letting go of false solidity. Same time, 9 p.m. Is what I'm doing instead of 10 p.m. so late, reading excerpts. So until then, take care of yourself. Good night. Love you. Thank you.